Hey you guys, this is the Kaizen Man welcoming you to the Kaizen Projekt. And today's video is about the top 3 beginner mistakes that I see people making in a yoga class and how to avoid them. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a yoga teacher. I work in Toronto for the last 4 years as a yoga teacher. And in the last 4 years, I have seen hundreds, if not thousands of students come through the door and make very similar mistakes. And I've started to see the trends and also I've started to see some of the repercussions of making those mistakes. And the reason that I want to talk to you about this today is because some of these mistakes I have made myself and I have caused injury in my wrist, I've caused injury in my shoulders. So I just want to make sure that if you're starting off your yoga practice, or even if you're already a yoga practitioner, and if you want to have a deeper understanding of your own body and some of the alignment adjustments that you need to make for the poses, then this is a great video for you to start off with, because I'm going to cover the top 3 mistakes that we make in our Sun Salutation. So that's starting off in your plank, coming in your upward dog or cobra, and then going into downward dogs. The first thing that I see people doing in a yoga class when they're coming into their plank is overloading the wrists. And we have most of the bones in the bottom part of the hand and the outer edge. And what ends up happening is the hand tends to puff up and all of the weight gets dumped onto the wrist. And over time, with repetition, that can lead to injury and have pain in your wrist. And this is something that I've learned from experience. So one of the things that you want to get in the habit of doing is learning to stretch your hands and your fingers as far as you can. And then when you're connecting your hand with the mat, you want your palm to be completely flat and you want the fingers to be gripping the mat as well. So as opposed to letting the weight dump into the wrist and the outer part of the hands, distribute that weight out all the way into the entire palm, and that takes some of the pressure off the wrist. The second mistake that I see in yoga all the time is when people come into their back bend, which is their cobra or their upward dog, the shoulders tend to scrunch up. And when that happens, you're really not getting an extension in this pose. It really just becomes something that you're forcing your body into, and there's no real benefit from that. Because the goal of a back bend is to open your chest as well as find mobility in the spine. And in upward dog or cobra, you want to be able to stretch the entire front body. So if you're not getting that full extension with the chest and your shoulders are scrunched, you're not getting the full benefit of the pose. And the third most common mistake that I see is in downward dog, because people, when they come into downward dog, oftentimes think that the goal is to reach your heels down to the ground, and for that they straighten their legs. But the real goal for downward dog is to find length throughout your body. And that length really starts from the upper body. So from the fingers into your arms, all the way to your tailbone, you want to extend as much as you can from there. And for that, it's actually easier to do that if your knees are slightly bent, because your lower back has more room to be able to extend and not be pulled down by the hamstrings. So if your legs are already straight, your hamstrings, if they're tight, they're going to pull on the glutes, which is going to pull on the lower back, and you'll find that you're not able to get that full extension in the upper body. So what I recommend always is, for the first few downward dogs, especially if your hamstrings feel tight, is to take a bend in your knees and try and extend your upper body as far as you can. Lengthen from the tailbone all the way towards the ceiling. And then once you can keep that length and hold it, from there you can start to straighten your legs while keeping the upper body nice and extended. And just to recap what we talked about, the top 3 mistakes that I see in a yoga class is people tend to overload their wrists, putting too much pressure on the joints. And what you want to do to rectify that is to spread the fingers as wide as you can and flatten the palms entirely. The second mistake that I see most often is scrunching of the shoulders, where the shoulders are really crowding the ears like this. And what you want to try and do is lift the chest up and take the shoulders away from the ears. And the third mistake that I see most often in a yoga class is straightening the legs in downward dog too quickly. And the goal is not to reach the heels down. The goal in downward dog is to lengthen the entire body. So what I would recommend is keeping your knees a little bit bent and looking to lengthen from your fingertips all the way to the tailbone and getting that full extension before you think about straightening your legs and reaching the heels down. So if you enjoyed that video, please go ahead and hit the like button. Share this video with your friends if you think that they will benefit from this. And if you like this content and want more like it, then make sure you subscribe as well. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, this is the Kaizen Man, signing out.